You could have pretty much guessed that this video and other videos like it were going to come about after this recent victory in the Staten Island Amazon warehouse workers voting to form a union. What has essentially happened is the following. Corporate America has come out in droves, quite literally, to diminish this victory, to smear it, to make it seem like it's something that shouldn't have happened, because we all know that they were rooting against it and that they didn't want to happen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a clip that I came across of a man by the name of Jim Cramer on CNBC, quite literally calling this union victory dreadful and saying that it's bad because the employers will essentially lose control over the workers, and essentially they won't be able to tell them what to do anymore, specifically when to work. Please take a look at this nonsense.
At scale.
Well, we know that the union work rules are what everything is about. It's the same case with Starbucks, too. If you can't tell your employees when they work, then you're really not able to have much of an ability to be able to move product or move coffee. And I think that the unions will be in charge of time that you need to work. And that would be dreadful very dreadful for Andy Jassy.
And that's just a U.S. picture, right?
Yeah.
They got Europe to think about as well.
You know, look, one of the problems was, Starbucks does indeed have unionized places in the ones that they franchise. But if you can't control the work rules, no one wants to work certain shifts. So you can just say, listen, I'm not going to work that shift. And Amazon would not be able to say, yes, you must work it. So that's what at stake with union is time that you have to work.
Our thanks to Dee. We're going to watch developments in New York.
We have more on
and
the
Alabama.
tech check?
I imagine we will.
Because she's doing amazing work. This is a very important story because one of the reasons why Amazon works so well is because people work when Amazon says you must work.
Wow. Wow. This is a really big mask off moment, not for him, but for all of the entirety of the business community, their allies, their cronies, and the people that serve them. Look, man, it really pains me because I know that there are people that can see that clip, come across it, and like employees themselves, and that would be helped by a union, right? That would come across this clip and think that he's making some kind of sense. Think that this fucking bozo has a point. No, he doesn't. Allow me to explain. First of all, he just spews rank propaganda about unions. He says that, if employers can't tell employees what to do, it becomes difficult to move product and move coffee. And notice how he took a shot at the Starbucks unionizers because Starbucks has increasingly becoming a bit more unionized as of late. We saw the first Starbucks union get birthed, and I believe it was Buffalo, New York. And I believe there's other Starbucks locations that are being unionized as well. And Starbucks is fighting very hard against these unionization efforts, just like Amazon is and was against the Staten Island warehouse workers in Amazon or for Amazon. But he says here that it'll be harder to move product. And where are the statistics to back that stuff up? Where are the statistics that show us that unionized workforces don't move product as well as non-unionized workforces? I'll wait. There aren't any. He also says that unions being in charge of when you work. So no one's going to take certain shifts. And, he alluded there, he explained, you're not going to be able to tell the employees when to work. Here's my very short answer for that. Good. No, not good. Great. Who the fuck wants some overlord that we call a boss, a manager, telling you when to come to work, what to do, how to do it, and all the rest of it? Look, man, Professor Richard Wolff is a person that does a phenomenal job at explaining this and really going into great detail about this. And I'll just try to give you a brief description of what he says or what he would say in regards to this type of rhetoric from this man. The way he puts it is, we used to have slavery in this country, specifically here in America. And we had masters and we had slaves in different locations. Specifically in Europe, they had the feudal system where they had the lord and the serf. So the feudal lord and the serf. And he really draws the fantastic conclusion that we never really succeeded from those systems in the way in which we should have. Yes, we've evolved and we've moved past slavery. Yes, we've evolved and we've moved past feudalism, but the master and the slave, the lord and the serf, that similarity, that connection, we never really got rid of. The masters got new names, the slaves got new names, the lords and the serfs got new names. Now, today, we refer to those two groups as employers and employees. The employers are a tiny minority set of people, and the employees are the vast majority, such as the prior groups were however many centuries or decades ago. He says that it'll be a bad thing that somehow the unions or the workers specifically will be dictating when they would work. You know, here in this country of America specifically, we love to champion a certain word, and we all know what that word is. It's called democracy. Democracy this, democracy that. We need democracy, we need freedom. Well, what's more democratic, what's more free than allowing your workers to decide when they want to work? And he says it as if there's going to be a certain time frame in which nobody's going to want to work. That's false. There's a vast array of people that work for whatever company, and many different people have many different things going on in their personal lives, and they can be benefited in a vast array of ways from working during different times of the day. So a time of the day that one person doesn't want to work, another person will, because it benefits them. But to this guy, that's way too much for him to understand. But back to this word of democracy, this democratic thing that we like to champion here in America. You know, we don't have democracy in many meaningful senses, but probably in the most starkest example, the place in which we spend the majority of our lives, that being the workplace, okay? Your job. You work essentially from damn near the moment you're born to the moment you die, you're working, you're using your brains and your muscles to produce a product, to sell it, to do whatever your job, to provide a service, do whatever it is your job asks you to do. And during that time period, you are at the mercy of an employer, you, the employee, and you're being told what to produce, how to produce it, and probably most importantly, what to do with the profits that you gain after you reap what you sow. And the vast majority of employees don't see the bulk of the profits that they incur from working whatever job it is that they do. Well, who does? Well, obviously the employer does. And one of the things that unions try to do is lessen that really deep inequality, for lack of a better word. Unions help workers fight for higher wages, among other things, to improve materially their conditions. But once again, that's way too much for Mr. Jim Cramer to understand. I mean, and just to end off the video, he says, and I love this quote the best, Amazon works so well because people work when they say work. Well, I want to take to a Twitter thread by a man by the name of Dan Price. You may or may not know who he is. It doesn't really matter for the sake of this video. But he outlines how well Amazon works, as Mr. Jim Cramer from CNBC puts it. So Amazon full-time warehouse employees, I'm just going to give you a couple facts. They make $31,000 a year on average. Jeff Bezos makes that every 12 seconds. Cost to give warehouse workers 2 weeks paid leave plus pay bump so they don't qualify for food stamps equals 0.9% of Bezos's fortune. Here's a couple more facts for you. Amazon paid a 6% tax rate last year, which is up 0% from a few years prior. One of the most wealthy companies in the world paid a 6% tax rate. Wow. So one of the richest companies in the world pay a lower tax rate than their warehouse workers making $31,000 a year. Wow. Amazon pays its workers so little that they often qualify for food stamps. It is among the top 3 employers, along with Walmart and McDonald's, whose employees are on public assistance in virtually every state. Amazon just flat out stole 60 million from tips from drivers. Wow, this is how well Amazon works. Amazon announced the $15 minimum wage. It came out later, too much, to much less fanfare, that it ended worker bonuses and stock options. That was after they declared a $15 minimum wage. So workers actually ended up making less after they got the wage increase because Amazon took a lot more away than what they ended up giving. Let's continue. In July, Jeff Bezos went to space and added $1.745 billion to his net worth. So he literally could have dumped $1 billion out of his spaceship and still gained more money than 23,000 Amazon workers will make all year combined. This is how well Amazon works. This is how well it works. Need to remind you, in case you forgot, the stories about Amazon drivers having to piss and defecate in bags because they're so pressed for time they can't stop for restroom breaks and all the rest of it. And when the whistle was blown on that, Amazon came out and smeared everybody who talked about it. I mean, the list goes on. But to these business community fucks, well, unions are bad and workers can't have more say in how they're treated and in the place in which they spend the vast majority of their lives. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. But, I mean, this is to be expected. God forbid this guy learns what a worker co-op is. He might quite literally have a heart attack on air.